Your phone's factory settings are not designed with your privacy or battery life in mind. They're designed to collect as much data as possible, show you as many ads as possible, and keep every app running in the background, draining your battery. When you tap through the setup screens on a new phone, you're agreeing to dozens of default permissions written by the company to serve the company, not you. App tracking is on. Background refresh is on for every single app. Location access is wide open. These 10 setting changes take about 10 minutes total. They immediately improve your privacy, battery life, and phone performance. No technical knowledge required. Setting 1. Audit your location permissions. Most apps request location access during setup, and most people tap allow without thinking. But many apps with no legitimate need for your location are tracking it continuously in the background, and that data is frequently sold to data brokers. On iPhone, Settings, then Privacy and Security, then Location Services. Go through each app and change permissions to never or while using, not always. Only maps, navigation, and weather apps genuinely need always access. On Android, Settings, then Location, then App Permissions. Same process. 2 benefits. GPS is one of the most power-hungry features on any phone. Removing continuous location access from multiple apps can add 30 to 60 minutes of battery per day, and it stops apps building a movement log they have no reason to have. Setting 2. App Tracking Transparency on iPhone. You've probably seen the pop-ups. App name would like to track your activity across other companies' apps and websites. What this means, the app wants to follow you around the internet, watching what you use, buy, and search, and build a profile for ad targeting. Tap Ask App Not to Track every single time. The app works exactly the same. It just can't build a profile of your behavior across the internet. Go further. Settings, then Privacy and Security, then Tracking. Turn off Allow Apps to Request to Track. When this is off, apps are automatically blocked from cross-app tracking. No pop-ups, no opt-ins needed. On Android, Settings, then Privacy, then Ads, then opt out of ads personalization. Large advertising companies have fought hard against this setting, which tells you exactly how valuable your tracking data is to them. Setting 3. Reset or delete your advertising ID. Every phone has a unique advertising identifier, IDFA on iPhone, GATE on Android. This is a permanent code that lets advertisers link all your app activity into a single profile: your location history, browsing habits, shopping behavior, and app usage. You can reset this ID, which breaks the existing profile. On Android, you can delete it entirely. On iPhone, if you turned off tracking in Step 2, this is largely handled. Go to Settings, then Privacy and Security, then Tracking to confirm. On Android, Settings, then Google, then Ads, then delete advertising ID. Without it, apps cannot build a cross-app profile of your behavior. Personalized ad targeting based on your specific usage history stops working. This takes 30 seconds and disrupts profiles data brokers have spent months building on you. Setting 4. Disable Background App Refresh. Background App Refresh allows apps to update their content while you're not using them. In practice, it keeps dozens of apps running constantly, each making network requests and consuming battery, even when your phone is sitting untouched on your desk. The vast majority of apps don't need this. They can update the moment you open them, which takes a second or two and costs nothing in battery. On iPhone, Settings, then General, then Background App Refresh. Turn this off entirely or disable it app by app. The only apps that genuinely need background refresh are email and messaging. Everything else can wait until you open it. On Android, Settings, then Apps, select each app, and under Battery choose Restricted or Optimized rather than Unrestricted. This is one of the most impactful battery changes you can make. People who do this often notice their phone running cooler and lasting an extra hour or more through the day. Quick pause. Subscribe if these settings are useful. Free tech tips every week. Now back to the list. Setting 5. Do a full notification audit. Notifications are an engineered mechanism to pull you back into apps as frequently as possible. Every like, every new post, every special offer. These exist because every time a notification pulls you back, the app gets more engagement and more ad views. Go through every app's notification settings and ask, Does this notification ever require an immediate response? If not, turn it off. On iPhone, Settings, then Notifications. On Android, Settings, then Notifications, or through each app. Social media apps almost never require immediate action. Shopping apps exist to push unplanned purchases. Game notifications manufacture urgency that isn't real. Most people who do this turn off 70 to 80% of their notifications, leaving only direct messages, calls, and calendar reminders. Setting 6. Optimize your display for battery life and eye comfort. 3 changes. First, auto brightness. Make sure it's on. Most people set brightness manually and forget to change it, leaving the phone at full brightness in a dark room draining battery for no reason. On iPhone, Settings, Accessibility, Display and Text Size, Auto Brightness. On Android, Settings, Display, Adaptive Brightness. Second, Dark Mode. If your phone has an OLED display, most iPhones from the 11 onwards and most mid-range Android phones, dark mode genuinely saves battery because black pixels are switched off rather than lit. On iPhone, Settings, Display and Brightness, Dark. On Android, Settings, Display, Dark Theme. Third, Screen Timeout. Set it to the shortest interval you're comfortable with, 30 seconds to 1 minute. Settings, Display, then Auto Lock or Screen Timeout. Setting 7. Enable two-factor authentication on every important account. Data breaches happen constantly. If you reuse passwords, which most people do, one breach exposes everything. 2FA means that even with your correct username and password, someone still can't access your account without a second verification step. Go through your most important accounts: email, bank and financial apps, social media, cloud storage, and any shopping account with a saved payment method. For the method, use an authenticator app rather than SMS codes where possible. Apps like Google Authenticator or Authy generate codes locally on your device and are more secure than text message codes, which can be intercepted through SIM swapping. Your email is the most critical account to protect. It's the recovery method for virtually everything else. If someone gets into your email, they can reset the password to any other account. 2FA on email is the single most important security step you can take. Setting 8. Audit all app permissions beyond location. Apps request access to microphone, camera, contacts, and photos, often far beyond what they need. Microphone access means an app can record audio. Contacts means it has your entire phone book. On iPhone, Settings, Privacy, and Security, then go through each category: microphone, camera, contacts, and photos. On Android, Settings, Privacy, Permission Manager. Ask, why does this flashlight app need microphone access? If you can't think of a good reason, revoke it. The app still works. Setting 9. Reduce what's visible on your lock screen. By default, most phones show full notification previews on the lock screen. Anyone who picks up your phone can read your messages and emails without unlocking it. On iPhone, Settings, then Notifications, then Show Previews, then when unlocked. On Android, Settings, then Notifications, then Lock Screen, then Hide Sensitive Notifications. Also disable your voice assistant on the lock screen. Siri and Google Assistant respond to voice commands without the phone being unlocked, meaning someone near your device can access your messages or calendar without touching it. Setting 10. Make sure Find My is enabled. If your phone is ever lost or stolen, Find My on iPhone and Find My device on Android lets you see its location on a map, remotely lock it, play a sound to find it nearby, and wipe it completely so your data doesn't end up in someone else's hands. On iPhone, Settings, tap your name, then Find My, then enable Find My iPhone. Also, enable Send Last Location. So if the battery dies, the last known location is saved. On Android, Settings, then Google, then Find My device. And make sure your phone has a strong lock screen pin, not just a pattern or a weak 4-digit code. This takes less than 2 minutes and should be on from day 1. 10 settings, location permissions, tracking transparency, Add ID reset, background app refresh, notifications, display settings, two-factor authentication, app permissions, lock screen privacy, and Find My device. None require technical knowledge. None break your apps. They simply put you in control of a device that, out of the box, is configured for everyone else's benefit more than yours. Set aside 10 minutes today. Your phone will be more private, your battery will last longer, and your accounts will be significantly harder to compromise. Subscribe for more practical tech tips every week. Drop a comment. Which of these did you already know, and which one surprised you? See you in the next one.